Hi again. This is David Dahm, and welcome to the tailgate, where we talk about real life, real issues in real ways to help you have real results. And we just had a wonderful conversation earlier regarding the importance of communication, the importance of your voice, the importance of tonality, the importance of having a checklist to make sure that professionalism and warmth and caring and empathy, how that needs to be delivered through your voice over the phone. And I'd shared with you that there's three important steps that we're going to take in our phone calls to help you be more effective. And I outlined those, and I said, the first one was going to be sowing, and the second step we can talk about would be cultivating, and the third one would be harvesting. And in this podcast, we're just going to focus in on sowing, and that is where we're going to build rapport, we're going to build trust, we're going to build ideas, we're going to begin to create visuals with farmers. And so I'm just going to give you some ideas, and so you may want to grab yourself your notebook and a pencil, and I'm going to give you some ideas for you to consider. All right. That sowing step, where it really needs to start is an agenda. And so go ahead and write the words agenda down. And, just like what we had when we made face-to-face calls, we found that agendas were really important. And starting a conversation over the phone, agendas are even more important. Well, why? Because I can't keep that other person's attention as easily. And so I need to create an agenda. So it might sound like this. Andy, there's three things that I wanted to talk to you today about. And you're going to list those 2 or 3 things. You might then say, our second step, Andy, is there anything on your mind that we should add or discuss today? Is there anything that we should add or that's on your mind that we should discuss today? That's an engagement statement. I've just engaged, this person example called Andy. And so that opening is really important. And this is after we've done the empathy, we've done the check-in. You know how to do that well. I think what's sometimes hard is the transition into what we want to talk about. And so don't be afraid to even ask your customer to pick up their pencil. So Andy, would you pick up a pencil and just I want you to develop a checklist. There was 3 things that I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to give you an update, so go ahead and write the word update. Second thing I wanted to do with you, Andy, is I really wanted to understand what your service needs, so go ahead and write service needs. And the third thing that I wanted to talk about was your seed, so go ahead and write seed. And let's just check those off as we go, but before we go into that, I just wanted to ask you, is there anything that I should add to the agenda that we should talk about? So you're going to find when you ask your customer to write the agenda down with you, it can be very, very helpful, okay? It's just very, very helpful to do that. Another great way to sow, to establish rapport and trust would be to use the 6 steps to kickoff. So it's another idea that you can use. So go ahead and write the words 6 steps to kickoff. And remember, the 6 steps to kickoff really engage someone. Now, who would have thought that important skill that David Dahm and All Terrain provided you would come in this handy and would provide you these kind of results? Just a quick reminder. You remember that first step is I've been talking with a lot of other customers just like you, Andy. So I've been talking or working with a lot of my customers just like you, Andy. The second step is to tie an emotion to the third step over a problem or an issue that they might be having. So Andy, I've been working with a lot of my other customers like you, step number 1. Step number 2, the emotion. And a lot of the customers that I've been talking to are really concerned over, well, whatever that concern might be. It might be cold conditions. It might be moisture. It might be how they're going to overcome some of the revenue that they're going to bring in because we've had a drop in commodity prices. Right? So whatever it is, it's a great way to engage your farmer, steps 1, 2, and 3. Step number 4, can I ask you a question, Andy? And put a star by that. When you engage your farmer over the phone call, when you say things, Andy, can I ask you a question? What happens? Well, now they're right with you. Whatever they might have been doing, all the distraction, they just heard their name. We're going to use their name a lot. Can I ask you a question, Andy? Well, they're going to say, of course. Well, the two questions that other guys have been asking me is, number one, what are the benefits of using whatever the product is? And then the second thing they've been asking me is, what am I recommending in terms of options that could be considered that could help us with that? So again, step number 5 is it puts your options, your products, your recommendations in question forms that allow you to move to step number 6. And step number 6 is the tie down question. I'm just curious, Andy, out of those two questions, which one's been on your mind? Which one would you like to cover? Now, do I have to use the 6 steps on my phone calls? No, you don't. But certainly those guys that maybe you don't have as much rapport with, maybe you don't have as much business with, it can be an excellent way to gain their attention. Okay? Really, really important that you're doing that. And you'll notice, back to our previous program, can you hear the tonality of my voice just as a reminder? How we're getting them to think of a picture or a problem that they're dealing with. How we're engaging them. All of those things we talked about in our previous program. Now, I want to move into another idea for you to consider in terms of sewing, and that is to give them an update. And we're going to create that picture that we talked about. Remember how those word pictures and how they're and why they're so important? So it might be, Andy, I wanted to describe to you what I've been doing. Andy, I wanted to describe, what I've done in terms of getting your products palletized. And so that sewing can be an opportunity for you to give them an update. Can be really, really critical in giving them updates. This is a part where you can sow ideas. A lot of guys have been asking me what my recommendations would be. Would you like to go over those now? Sowing ideas, you're also sowing trust. I understand what you're dealing with, Andy, and one of your options would be to take that out of your program. But before we do that, could we weigh the pros and cons? Did you hear that in my voice? Did I sound like I cared? Did it sound like I was respectful? Did you hear confidence through that in my voice as well? Yeah, you did. Your ability to focus on your customer, your ability to focus on the issue, your ability to start with an agenda, your ability to gain their attention through the 6 steps to kickoff, help you sow trust, help you sow respect and rapport, help you sow ideas. And that's why the sowing stage of a phone call can be so important. Getting your customer to write things down while you're talking, while you're asking, is so important in the sowing stage. Why? You've heard is that the first impression you get lasts a long time. And just like any what I would call good speaker, they grab your attention early, don't they? You need to grab the attention of your customer over the phone early. And how you're going to grab their attention is by the agenda. Is there anything we can add? Grabbing their attention through the questions you ask. Grabbing their attention through the urgency. Grabbing their attention through recommendations and options that you can provide them. And grabbing their attention by having them involved in the phone call, by asking them, can I ask you a question? And would you write this down for me? Can all be very, very helpful. It's the sowing stage. It's how you really build great effective communication over the phone. It's what we do. We talk about real life, real issues, and real ways to help you have real results. This has been David Dahm.